It's a different thing to put on a nice gown. It's a different thing to look like a Cinderella on your wedding. It's a different thing to change your voice and say, I do. It's a different thing to put on a suit and you feel like you are on top of the world. And my friend, it's a different ballgame to stay in that marriage and to make it work. And not to just make it work, but be happy in that marriage. Because that's what matters. Let me tell you, if you cannot be yourself in a marriage, it's the worst prison that you have gotten into. If you cannot laugh whichever way you laugh, I have laughed here, and you know how I laugh. It's a weird kind of laugh, right? But it's my kind of laugh. Take it or leave it, it's me. It's me you've got. There is no one else. So deal with it. Okay? So if you don't have someone that you can be able to joke with, and all you're thinking about, so many of us are aiming. You're just aiming for marriage. So you're trying to hold on for dear life. You're not checking the boat. You're not saying the wrong things. You're putting on the right things. You are appearing in the right places. And you are doing all the right things just to make sure, let me hold on until we get there. So after you get there, what happens? The true colors come out. That's why you've had people say, let me wait until we are married. Let me wait until they have my finger, my ring on their finger. Why? Because now they think they have locked you in. And let me break the news to you, and let me be the person that has the bearer of bad news. A ring does not lock you into a marriage. It doesn't. I am risking to be misunderstood, but this should go on record that a ring does not lock you in with a monster. It doesn't. Whether that monster is a woman or a man, it does not lock you in with a toxic person and a narcissistic person, a self-serving, egocentric, one who thinks they can manipulate you and twist you, one who thinks they cannot forgive and they have to keep a chart of all the wrongdoings and remember them at every small instance, one who thinks that they should share with the world about every small thing that is happening in your lives. One who cannot grow to put on pants or put on skirts. Nezigumira. Some of us are with wrong people. And just like I said, a time has to come when you've got to know when to cut certain things off. No, do not die of stress. Do not strangle yourself because you want to make something to work so bad because you're a pastor, and what will people say when they see this? Because you're a leader, what will people say when they see this? What happened to walking out quietly and minding your own business? What happened? Because until we give certain things a distance, they can never know how much important we are. Until we can take those 2 steps back to recollect, to reflect, and even ask ourselves, do we deserve this? Is this what we chose in the first place? Because someone has promoted the sanctity of marriage, and I promote the sanctity of marriage. There is no person that loves marriage better than me. But because I'm in a happy one, does not mean that everyone is in a happy one. And does not mean that because you're in an happy one, then you are doomed for life. You're supposed to be unhappy. Today I was giving someone an analogy of the toxicity and the narcissistic tendencies of people. And I was like that, you know what, the decision belongs to you. I do not make your decision. But you know what it's like? It's like having thorns in your mouth. Do you know how you eat food? So instead of the food, replace it with thorns. And for the rest of your life, you have to keep dodging the thorns with your tongue so that your tongue is not hurt. That is living in perpetual narcissism and toxicity. That means you have to calculate your words. That means you have to calculate what you put on. That means you have to calculate what time you come home. That means you have to calculate even the amount of sex you give them. That means you have to calculate, my goodness. Like you have a weighing scale for everything. Because then you don't want to annoy, you don't want to overstep, you don't want to step on anyone's toes, you don't want to have them quarrel, you don't want them to report to anyone, so you must be the good person. And let me tell you, being good is tedious and it exhausts. Especially if being good does not mean you being yourself. So at some point, And I've said this, and I will say it again, that how you deal with a narcissistic partner, and before you get into a marriage or before you get into a relationship with one, this is what you say. You know what? No, they should give them a chance. They will change. Let me tell you, I'm a Christian. I believe God changes, but a person called a narcissistic person is far from change. They literally enjoy what they are doing. Why? Because they are playing a domineering game. They want to be above everyone, and everyone should be a doormat. Even when you go below them, they want you to squat. When you squat, they want you to sit. After you sit, they want you to sleep. When you lie flat, then your butt is not flat enough. They want you to disappear into the ground, as in it is about them. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason as to why you are here every single week is that you want a better life. And you do not want to create your own demons that are going to haunt you in the future. So the decision is now. It's not then. The decision is now. Do not love a ring more than your life. Do not love a dress more than your life. Never love a good suit or to be known as Mr. So-and-so, because sometimes you feel like being, have you seen people that like being called Mrs. So-and-so? It's a good thing if you are getting the gift and the good person. Let me tell you, it's the sweetest thing. I enjoy being called Mrs. Sabiti. But believe me, if it was another person who was not being the Mr. Sabiti in my life and they were doing something else, I would have had my name. Anytime. Just my name. It's enough. No one wants to identify with something. Not someone, but something. Because if you become egocentric, you become something. How many of us are single? Singles? Hands up straight. I love you, singles, but my heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to you like so much. Be very, very, very careful. When we make statements of marry your friend, get to know them. Date them. Court them. Move with them. Pray with them. Know how they eat. Know what they want. Befriend them. As in, that is the foundation of everything. But do you know, just like they say, a monster, like you have been with them and you know them. So now, now here there is a landmine. I am going to dodge it. There is another landmine. I am going to dodge it. Whether this one is Japan, area Korea, area Asia, Russia, area Ukraine. You know them. Because you have taken time. But just imagine you wake up in marriage. Because you fast-tracked everything and wanted it so bad that you did not have time to court them and date them and know them and pray with them and know whether you are in sync with them. Let me tell you, being married to a person that you are in sync with, it does not mean that you're going to collaborate on everything or you're going to see eye to eye with everything. But again, you are in sync. That if it's progress, we want progress. If it's happiness, we both want happiness. But there's someone who just enjoys seeing you gnashing and crying, and for them, they're having the party of their lives. And now you have woken up in a marriage like that. And that is when you discover, you even don't know where the landmines are from. I don't know if they explode any different, but I would imagine a Russian one sounds like it would explode different. So you're in marriage, but you're discovering one by one. You're like, if I step the next one, I think might kill me. So you stay in one place. Do you see? I have seen people frozen before, and they just don't know what to do. They're like young kids in their own marriages. They're second-guessing themselves. And Coach Susie, have you seen people, they were flourishing and serving God and having the fun of their lives when they were single, and they get married and everything just dies off? Like all the anointing goes, all the calling disappears. They even start looking so bad, and you're thinking, if marriage makes people look like this. That is not the marriage that I want. Just imagine the kind of inferiority complex and the kind of low-lifeness that people have, that every time whatever crosses their mind is every time you are everywhere, even when you go to the bathroom, you're from being with a man. There are people who have that kind of understanding. I don't know whether that's a chicken brain or it's a man brain. And then there are women that think every time a man is out of their sight is with women. Now, I don't know what brain that is. I don't know how to term it. But half the time for women, it's because you lack what to do. You are not busy enough. Do you know how it feels when you are in your zone of genius and you're chasing after your own things and someone is just coming and saying, you know, I'm so proud of you. I love that you are dedicated to this. I love the woman that you are becoming. Someone sent me a message. If you're here, please raise your hand. I don't know. But you sent me a message and told me that your husband, you actually sent me screenshots from your husband, and that your husband was saying, I love the woman that you are becoming. I love it that you are minded about growth. I love it that you are way ahead than where I even anticipated you will be. Now, that is a man that understands. A man that wants to push you ahead because, again, he knows he's building himself. Gentlemen, the moment you uphold a woman's dream, you are building yourself. You are fortifying yourself. Half the time, a woman that knows their purpose and is busy, they have a standard and they have a grade below which they can't come. And the same applies to the gentleman. Okay? So you've got to know when to stop certain things, when to just cut them out. And there's so many things. I have a whole lot of list. And some of these things that we have had, but whenever we are here, we remind ourselves, because this is a journey. If I need to remind you that don't sit down and don't give up, I will remind you every week not to sit down and give up. If I need to remind you that you are beautifully and wonderfully made, if I need to remind you that you are handsome and you have created for more, your DNA, before you were woven together in the sacred places, God had a plan for you to give you an expected end. I will remind you about that expected end. Okay? So whenever you come here, just know we come here to be stirred up. We come here to be reminded. We come here to know that there is a success, there is a significance, there is a greatness, and there is a good life, there is a happiness that we are walking towards. Yes, we are happy now, but there is a happier life ahead. Yes, we are great now, but there is more greatness ahead. Let me tell you, as you grow older, just like they say that sugar can taste sweeter as you go down, but as you grow older, life becomes sweeter. You become wiser. Okay? So I don't want us to throw in the towel. So certain types of people, where is the microphone? Can someone remind me what types of people should we cut out of our lives? I know you know them better than me.
My name is Ethel. Narcissists, toxic people, negative people, dream killers. Yes.
Dream killers. The vampires, the ones that drain energy. You know, they just take the whole energy out of you. We have a hand here.
My name is Sheila. The other friends, the more luxurious friends. Okay. Every other time they think of going out, nothing else.
I want us to differentiate and be able to give that statement and be able to, what do we call it? To understand it well, okay? Some people are just time wasters, and some people have no nose in their mouths, and some people are just faking a flamboyant life and a luxurious life, but it's not what they are actually living. Now, for those that are living a luxurious life, they are there. They are typically living a luxurious life. But the wannabes, those ones you should run away from. The what? Wannabes, those ones you run away from. Even when she doesn't have that cloth to fit in that party, whatever she was invited to, she will go and borrow. So she will do everything in her power to mask the fact that they are not enough, to make sure that they show everyone and put it on public display like we are living a flamboyant life. Let me tell you, the rich people will never tell you that they are rich. So many of us have fallen into those tricks. And I like the way she put it. Some people look like they're living their luxurious lives, and if you can't afford it, it's very simple. Just say no. You have to know, and by the way, even if you have lived that kind of life before, a time has to come when you have to admit and be very truthful, because one of the things that you've got to do for yourself is to be very honest and know that, yes, I had money. Once I had money, but right now I am running dry. So can I cut down on my expenses? Can I start eating food at home? Can I stop buying clothes, every time because I don't actually need them? I have more than enough to have. Can I stop going for every party that I'm invited at? I'll tell this one says it's an all white party. I'll tell this one all purple party. I'll tell this one, so every time I have to buy a cloth. Not every time I'm supposed to be invited for a baby shower, I have to show up. No. So you have to know that, this season of my life, I'm actually an indoor person. I have taken time to get back, cocoon myself, so that I will develop from that beautiful or whatever state of caterpillar, so that I will be able to be a magnificent butterfly. But my season demands that I'm a caterpillar and I must move on the ground and I must move on trees. And my season determines that I am going to take a step back, cocoon myself, build myself from inside out. That by the time I come with my dream, by the time I birth that business, everyone is like, where have you been? You are doing this so well. And then when the time comes, let me tell you, no one points you to a beautiful butterfly and tells you that butterfly is beautiful. You just look at it with all the glittery, with all the colors, with all the way God made it, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is so good to behold. That's why I told you, I prefer the longevity, I prefer the sustainability, I prefer the keeper in you, not the trial and error. Because that is also a phase. And we will uphold you. We will even, have you seen a child starting to walk? You will sing them songs. You will even, you will do all sorts of noises just to make them, to reinforce, to tell them that what you're doing is good. Go ahead and do it. But again, a child will never be stunted and plateau at the level of just learning to take one step. Because then they want to be sung to every time. They will start running. They will start climbing. They will start doing all sorts of things, somersaulting, doing things that are outside of even their jurisdiction. Why? Because they are growing. All right? So we all know the types of people. We are not going, the types of conversations that we must be able to avoid.
You can't get a job in Uganda unless if you're connected or you're a Westerner.
Or you're willing to sleep with the bosses.
The conversation of government here to Yambe. Waiting for someone to do something for you.
Those ones.
And
then, there's a way, when people start these conversations, people tend to agree with them. We need government to step up, and everyone is, shaking their heads in agreement. Yes, we need government. What does it mean for government to step up? Does government know your name? Sorry? They know what? They know your name. But when they were registering for NIRA, they misspelled your name. They even miswrote your birth dates. And they gave you more years or less years. Sorry? And then, when you go to ask for a passport, they want you to confirm that you're Ugandan. So tell me, you are 40 years, 50 years of age, and they're telling you to Kakase. Where did you go to the well? Which well in that village? Bring your father's musolo. Yes, they have asked people to take those things. Bring those documents where your father used to pay the local tax, so that we know, and that is what, 70 years ago and 50 years ago, because apparently you must prove that you are a Ugandan at 50 years old. If we are not pathetic, then I don't know what we are.
Did you see who getting married to end in tears?
Premium tears. You're the one who sees, by the way, we see everything. And if someone comes to you, and there's a way, by the way, they don't even look at you. Do you see that rumor mongers and gossipers don't even look at you while they're gossiping? Half the time, they knock you on the sides to get your attention, and then they will show you. Now they have shown you, because they don't want to draw attention to themselves. They will show you whatever they're showing you, and then they will start whispering, but not looking at you. Have you seen? So they're telling someone who is on corner. Let me tell you, those people have tactics. They know when to create suspense. They know when to pause. They know when to wrap so many words. Then they know when to cast a question. Because if you are involved with a gossiper, apparently you must affirm whether what they're saying is true. And they do not accept you saying, Have you ever dealt with a good gossiper? You have to say something. And it has to be in line with what they are telling you. You have to give a supporting statement to what they are saying. Such people, change your seat.